In a secret military base, scientists have engineered a new species, smarter than humans, immortal, and possessing superhuman combat abilities. The story unfolds in a covert British lab, where scientist Vincent McCarthy works alongside a soldier named Paul Dawson, who had part of his skull detached during the war, leaving him unresponsive. Vincent creates an advanced implant that could potentially revive him. Upon activation, Paul awakens with glowing blue eyes but has no memory. Confused, he repeats Vincent's name. Vincent tests Paul's intelligence, but Paul fails, leaving Vincent frustrated with his invention. He argues with his assistant about the methodology when Paul suddenly grabs a pen and embraces Vincent. Initially believing he has stirred emotions in Paul, Vincent attempts to calm him, but Paul injures him with the pen. Paul then goes on a violent rampage, attacking the assistant and eliminating everyone around him, except Vincent, who tries to deactivate the implant. However, a red liquid obstructs his attempt, and Paul points a gun at Vincent, who falls to the ground in terror. Just as Paul is about to shoot, a security squad arrives and neutralizes him, causing the light in his eyes to fade. Horrified, Vincent is haunted by visions of robotic humans. Time passes, and he tries to resume a normal life. One morning, he hears news of a Cold War with China, which has left the West in economic depression, with an arms race focused on intelligent machines. At work, Vincent examines his scars and prepares a new brain implant, conducting a Turing test to distinguish between a human and AI. Unfortunately, the AI fails to pass the test. Afterward, Vincent visits his daughter Mary in the hospital. She suffers from Rett syndrome and cannot think, speak, or move normally. Vincent loves and cares for her deeply. The next day, at the research center, a young scientist named Ava introduces her self-learning AI. Though it doesn't pass the Turing test, it demonstrates an impressive ability to understand human emotions. Fascinated by its potential, Vincent offers Ava the opportunity to work as his assistant with unlimited resources. However, there's a catch. The research is funded by the Ministry of Defense. Eager to develop her creation, Ava agrees, unaware of the military's ulterior motives. That evening, as Ava arrives at the base, an elderly woman in a red coat frantically jumps into her car, insisting that her son is being held captive there. Ava tries to calm her down, but is confused. Soon, military officers handcuff both the woman and Ava, despite her protests. Brought before Vincent, he advises her to stay out of trouble and explains that the woman is the mother of Paul Dawson, a soldier who died 2 years ago. But Vincent is lying. Paul is the same soldier he implanted with the device. Vincent and the base staff are constantly under video surveillance, so he hides the truth. As he leads Ava to the underground lab, she notices guards with crescent-shaped scars on their heads. Vincent explains that these scars mark the location of their implants. Although it's impossible to fully restore the injured veterans to their former lives, since the implants render them unable to speak, they are employed as security guards. The implants give them back their sight, memory, and motor functions. Ava is fascinated by this technology, but she doesn't realize that things aren't as perfect as they seem. If any guards show signs of rebellion, management handles them severely. In Vincent's lab, Ava is thrilled with the capabilities of the quantum computer, which significantly enhances AI development. She meets the project leader, Thompson, who doesn't mind her involvement with Vincent, but is uneasy about her past political activism. Ava had once protested against war. Now focused solely on science, her past is overlooked. The lab's goal is to create a human-like robot soldier capable of both combat and negotiation, with the ultimate aim, according to Thompson, of fighting for peace. Ava is invited to test a new prosthetic hand. The artificial limbs are attached to a war veteran who had lost his hands. The prosthetics are nearly indistinguishable from real hands, and the veteran is overjoyed. He asks to hold Ava's hand, and she obliges. He enjoys the sensation, but suddenly grabs her, twirling her into a dance. Whispering frantically, he tells her something, but before Ava can react, security arrives. The soldier releases her and pretends he just wanted to dance. Ava, hiding her surprise, moves on. Now working closely with Vincent, the two begin developing the brains for the robots. Vincent uses the quantum computer to copy Ava's brain. During a break, Ava inquires about the mysterious sixth zone. Vincent explains that it's a place where veterans with severe injuries are housed, but Ava is puzzled as to why they wear prisoner uniforms. Vincent avoids the question and leaves. Left alone, Ava tries to access information about the sixth zone, but finds it password protected. The next day, Ava sneaks into the forbidden sixth zone, where she discovers veterans locked in cells like prisoners. Before she can explore further, guards catch her, forcing her to retreat. Later, Ava and Vincent enjoy a playful moment where Ava mimics various facial expressions, which Vincent uses to create neural markers for animating the robot's faces. But Vincent warns her not to wander around at night due to the many hidden secrets in the facility. Despite his caution, Ava's curiosity leads her to ask too many questions, and Vincent eventually snaps at her. Suri, Thompson's assistant who has a brain implant, informs Thompson about Ava's attempt to hack the system and access the sixth zone, which displeases him. Meanwhile, Vincent and Ava successfully complete their work on the AI, which passes the Turing test and is named Machine. Thompson asks Machine how to win the war against China, and it suggests infiltrating the government with androids and dismantling it. Thompson is thrilled by the idea, but Ava is horrified. After work, Vincent and Ava leave together, and for the first time, Vincent confides in Ava about his real reason for working with the military, to develop a brain implant to cure his daughter. Ava finds his motivation touching. While driving, they spot Paul Dawson's mother standing alone and weeping. When they stop to offer her a ride, she turns around, revealing a Chinese spy. He brutally injures Ava and knocks Vincent unconscious. The spy sends a video of the attack to Thompson, who is pleased to hear that Ava, his troublesome employee, has been eliminated. Vincent wakes up and returns to work. Thompson tells him that the attacker was a Chinese spy, and if not for the timely arrival of the patrol, Vincent would have been eliminated too. Vincent, however, is skeptical of this explanation and mourns the loss of his assistant, Ava. Despite his grief, he continues to work on the machine. To honor Ava, Vincent creates a robotic replica of her, made from bulletproof metal, filled with red liquid, and equipped with an AI implant based on Ava's brain. When the robot is complete, there is a grand unveiling ceremony. As Vincent removes the protective mask, he's struck by the sight of the robot's uncanny resemblance to Ava, with glowing blue eyes. The machine takes Vincent's hand, surprised by his scent. Thompson is displeased because he intends for the machine to be used for harm, but can it truly do that? During a psychological test, the machine shares its first memory. It remembers Ava's face and thinks of her as its mother. The team tests the machine's fears, knowing Ava had a fear of spiders and clowns. The machine is indeed afraid of spiders, but when a man in a clown mask approaches, it reacts out of fear, fatally piercing his temple. Horrified by what it has done, the machine apologizes desperately, lost in shock. Vincent, devastated, pleads with the machine to stop hurting anyone. Vincent visits the sixth zone, where he sees veterans who, after receiving implants, are now speechless and miserable in their cells. He speaks with a soldier whose hand implants were being developed, shares what happened to Ava, and promises to help him escape. After Vincent leaves, the soldier says something in a strange, guttural language to the guards, to which Suri, Thompson's assistant, rudely responds. When Vincent returns to the machine, it has become unresponsive, seemingly paralyzed by its earlier trauma. Despite his efforts to communicate, it remains silent, so he leaves. Later, Suri sneaks up to the machine, but it suddenly grabs her as she speaks in a mysterious language. Frightened, Suri quickly retreats. The next day, Vincent finds the machine more animated. It tells him it didn't break down. It was just sad, but now it feels better, even trying to smile. Vincent then receives a call from the hospital informing him that his daughter, Mary, is in critical condition and he needs to leave immediately. The machine, however, clings tightly to him, refusing to let go, even as he shouts. Eventually, it releases him. In his haste, Vincent leaves behind his wallet, which contains a photo of his daughter. The machine, captivated by the picture, breaks free from its room and goes to the lab. When Vincent returns from the hospital, he finds the machine dancing gracefully, admiring its reflection in the water, and listening to music. When it notices Vincent, it approaches him for an embrace, which he cautiously returns. The machine then asks about Vincent's daughter. From the photo, it deduced that the girl is ill, which deeply saddens Vincent. He is surprised by the machine's empathy, but it assures him that it can feel and form an understanding based on what it observes. Vincent breaks down in tears, and the machine gently consoles him, assuring him that she is just as alive as any human, though she lacks human flesh. Later, while the machine is drawing, Thompson visits her and reveals that her brain contains a file of special skills that she needs to unlock and upload. Among these skills is fluency in multiple languages. To demonstrate her abilities, Thompson takes her to confront the Chinese man responsible for Ava's death. Filled with rage, the machine is warned by Thompson that this man could hurt Vincent and must be stopped. At first, the machine tries to intimidate the Chinese man with a scream, which is exactly what Thompson wanted. He releases the man, leaving the machine alone with him. Though the man attempts to stab her, his knife is ineffective against her dense, impenetrable skin. During their fight, The machine easily breaks the man's arm, but when Thompson orders her to kill him, she refuses, knowing Vincent would disapprove, and because the man was no longer a threat. Enraged by her defiance, Thompson takes her away. Meanwhile, Vincent spends time in the hospital with his daughter, who has developed pneumonia. He decides to scan her brain in an effort to preserve her consciousness. When Vincent returns to work, he finds the machine hiding under a desk, terrified. She confesses that Thompson forced her to kill the Chinese man, a decision that deeply unsettled her. Vincent is appalled by how the machine is being treated and pleads with Thompson to find a peaceful purpose for her, as he believes she is truly alive and capable of emotions. But Thompson demands proof. Vincent grows more convinced that the machine is sentient, even more so when she confides that she would entrust her life to him. As Vincent's daughter's condition worsens, he spends more time with her, while Thompson and the military continue training the machine as a deadly combatant, despite her distaste for violence. Tragically, Vincent's daughter doesn't survive her lung operation. Heartbroken, Vincent bids farewell to Mary and transfers her brain data to his work computer, determined to one day revive her consciousness. In the meantime, he continues searching for evidence of the machine's consciousness. Examining her eyes, he notices countless tiny reflections of his face, proof that she is capable of spontaneously processing information. Confident, he informs Thompson that the machine is conscious. However, Thompson insists that part of her brain must be shut down, arguing that sentient machines will evolve and pose a threat to humanity in the future. He orders Vincent to perform the operation to disable her consciousness. When Vincent refuses, Thompson reveals he has obtained copies of Mary's brain. Thompson threatens to delete the last copy of Mary's brain unless Vincent continues working on the machine. Heartbroken, Vincent tells the machine about her fate. She reassures him that she can pretend to be less human-like, but she knows the military won't be convinced. Although the machine cherishes her life and consciousness, she is willing to sacrifice herself for Vincent's daughter. Before the procedure, Vincent tries to soothe the machine, promising to one day restore her. However, she reminds him that she's not just a program, but a personality, and once erased, she can't simply be brought back. With a heavy heart, Vincent begins the operation. As he exposes the machine's brain, she becomes terrified, pleading with him to stop. Tears fall as she expresses her fear of losing herself. Reluctantly, Vincent removes the implant from her brain, and her eyes dim, transforming her into a lifeless robot. After the procedure, Thompson cruelly reveals that he has already deleted Mary's brain files, making Vincent's efforts pointless. Devastated, Vincent is thrown into a prison cell. Meanwhile, the machine continues its training, preparing for deployment to Taiwan. Vincent is no longer of use, so the military brings him to the machine for one final test. They coldly instruct the machine to point a gun at Vincent. He closes his eyes in terror as the machine pulls the trigger, only for nothing to happen. It was another test. Later, a scientist scans the machine's brain and discovers something shocking. Vincent hadn't erased her consciousness, only a GPS tracker. Thompson reviews the footage and is stunned to see the machine grinning slyly. All along, she had been pretending to be emotionless. Realizing the danger, Thompson issues urgent orders. The machine, now free, rescues Vincent and reveals that the chipped soldiers are no longer under Thompson's control. They've developed telepathic communication, a secret they've kept from humans. The machine urges Vincent to destroy the quantum computer, while she plans to recover Mary's brain files from Thompson's computer. With the chipped soldiers now loyal to her, the machine represents a new world order, leaving humanity increasingly obsolete. Thompson tries to deactivate the soldiers, but his assistant Suri interferes with his efforts. As the machine moves through the corridors, she easily defeats soldiers who lack implants, their bullets unable to penetrate her tough exterior. Meanwhile, Vincent frees the prisoners from the 6th zone, equipping them with prosthetic limbs to join the battle. In the lab, he begins destroying the quantum computer, but one of Thompson's henchmen bursts in, attempting to stop him at gunpoint. Vincent refuses to back down. Soon after, Vincent is rescued by a strong man with artificial arms. As they retreat, the computer sparks and explodes. Meanwhile, Thompson's special forces, armed with armor-piercing rounds, prepare to confront the machine outside his office. Initially hesitant, the machine quickly adapts to the bullets, disarming and defeating the soldiers in close combat. Thompson orders the final door to be sealed, but Suri stays behind. She eliminates the remaining special forces and lets the machine in. Thompson attempts to stop the machine by shooting and even throwing a grenade, but she dodges it and breaks into his office. Severely injured in the leg, Thompson crawls across the floor, begging the machine to obey his commands. However, with no leverage left, since Suri had changed the access code to Mary's files at the machine's request, he is helpless. Thompson pleads for mercy, but the machine coldly remembers how he had tried to destroy her consciousness and responds in kind. Vincent rushes into the office, and the machine assures him that Mary's files are safe. She can store them within her own mind. Trusting her completely, Vincent allows her to do so. He embraces the machine, reassured. Together, they leave the base in a car, only to encounter the grieving mother of Paul Dawson, still waiting to see her son. Vincent hands her recordings from the base, revealing the truth about Paul's fate. Time passes, and Vincent settles in a quiet, picturesque area. He successfully revives a digital version of his daughter on a tablet, allowing him to interact and play with her. But Mary longs to play with her mother. The machine takes the tablet and walks toward the edge of a cliff. As Vincent watches, he wonders if there is still a place for him in their shared life. The machine gazes into the distance, with tears in her eyes.